Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. We are going to have a series of lectures on modern Muslim world. The first one being knowing thyself or know thyself. I think the first and foremost thing that a person ought to do is to know oneself. It all starts from there, and only then we can reconcile ourselves. We can relate ourselves with the world that we live in, the contemporary world or the modern world, so to speak. So I would like to present certain points to poke the young minds of the youth of Pakistan. First and foremost would be that there are two realities of life that shall always remain with us. There are two realities of life that shall always define our existence. One is being a Pakistani. We cannot run away from this identity ever. We can go to any part of the world, we can get as much citizenships of the world, of the different countries of the world. The fact of the matter shall remain that we at the core will be looked upon as a Pakistani. The second identity that that sticks with us is of being a Muslim, or a moral being, or a Muslim, so to speak. Again, you can go to any part of the world, you will be recognized as a Muslim. So what do we do here? Do we shy away from these defining elements, or should we own them? Because you know what, when the youth from Pakistan goes abroad, he or she is looked as a Pakistani, as a Muslim, hence as a potential terrorist, as a militant who has come all the way from his or her country to disturb the very peace of their country, their society, their norms, their values. So what do we do with this situation? Do we try to shun away the defining elements of being Pakistani or a Muslim? No, I think we should own them. The best way of owning them is to educate ourselves, to know who we are. The first thing that I would like to present here is the founder of Pakistan, Muhammad Ali Jinnah's fantastic address to the Constituent Assembly 3 days before the creation of Pakistan on 11th August 1947. I think that those words should remain with us for all times to come. That defines what Pakistan is. That shall define what Pakistan stands for all times to come. No other party, no other segment of the society can redefine what the founder of the country defined for us. This is very important. Let's see what he has to say. There are 4 fundamental points in his speech. He says, you are free. You are free to go to your temples, mandar. You are free to go to your mosques or to any other places of worship in this state of Pakistan. You are free actually to practice your own religion. You may belong to any religion or caste or creed. जो भी नस्ल हो आपकी, whatever religion, that has nothing to do with the business of the state. This is the definition of secular Pakistan. Secular doesn't mean that nobody has a religion. No, it's a misconception. Secular means that everybody, irrespective of the religion, the caste, the creed, the color, is free to practice his or her religion. Absolutely free. It says, Quaid-e-Azam says, Muhammad Ali Jinnah, it has got nothing to do with the business of the state. No discrimination between one caste or creed and another. No discrimination. All are equal citizens of Pakistan. Equal. We are starting with this fundamental principle that we are all citizens and equal citizens of one state. Brilliant. This is what Quaid-e-Azam dreamt about Pakistan, the type of Pakistan he gave it to us, where everybody, whether they are Christians, they are Hindus, they are Muslims, they're all equal under the umbrella of Pakistan. Hindus would cease to be Hindus and Muslims would cease to be Muslims. Not in the religious sense, because that is a personal faith of each individual, but in the political sense as citizens of the state. This is, we have to own this, we have to practice this, especially the youth of Pakistan. We cannot let other elements define other concepts of Pakistan. This is Pakistan for us, for you, for me, where everybody can live irrespective of his faith, of his caste, creed, color, religion. We are all free to practice our own faith and to live, coexist at an equal stature, at an equal pedestal. And the Quaid-e-Azam says, my guiding principle will be justice and complete impartiality. I can look forward to Pakistan becoming one of the greatest nations of the world. These are the rules, these are the principles on which we can envisage Pakistan becoming a great state. This is important. Jinnah's speech is absolutely, it conforms to God's design. God has created all of us. He has made a design for us. Let me share that design. And Quaid-e-Azam, you will see Jinnah's speech is exactly based on that, on God's design. God says that, this I am quoting the Quran now. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. This is chapter 11, chapter, not para, chapter 11, verse 118. And if your Lord had so willed, He could surely have made mankind one ummah. Had God wished, He could have made all the humanity one ummah, nation or community, following one religion. But they will cease to disagree. They will not cease to disagree, which means that they will disagree. This is God's design. Let me read it again. And if your Lord had so willed, He could surely have made mankind one ummah, a nation or community, following one religion only, that is Islam, but they will not cease to disagree, meaning they will disagree. So we will have these different faiths, different interpretations, different sects, which we see we have in Pakistan. We have different sects within Islam, but that doesn't matter. What matters is you, the youth, has to accept and practice that difference of opinions are God's design. Therefore, we have to be tolerant. We have to practice tolerance, especially towards the minorities of Pakistan, because Pakistan is predominantly a Muslim populated area, more than perhaps 95%. So that 5% that we have, the minorities, the Christian community, the Hindu community in different parts of Sindh, we have to consider them our brothers and equal citizens of Pakistan, because this is God's design, and also because Jinnah founded the very foundation of Pakistan on this principle. Let me quote a saying of Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Just see where God and His prophets stand. The Prophet says, whoever usurps the rights of the non-Muslims, usurps means jo haq marta hai, whoever usurps the rights of the non-Muslims, I myself shall fight for his rights with God in the hereafter. Just absorb this. The Prophet has said, whoever mistreats the minorities, the non-Muslims, The Prophet says he himself will stand with that minority in the hereafter against us. Would we like to do that? Would we like to see the Prophet standing against us in the hereafter? No, we wouldn't. We have to be very careful. The only way we can own Pakistan and the only way we can own being a Muslim is to educate ourselves better. And do not let the society drive us towards emotions and intolerance. Another great figure of Pakistan which we must own is Allama Iqbal. There is an app actually which is now readily available on the Androids and all that is called Iqbal Demystified. I would strongly suggest and recommend do download that app, because that particular app has the original poetry with English and Urdu translations, which is brilliant. You can relate to each and every verse of Allama Iqbal and understand what really the message he left us. I have chosen one of the verses from Saki Nama, one of his most famous and brilliant pieces of poetry, Saki Nama. And it says, ज़माने के अंदाज बदले गए, नया राग है साज बदले गए, खिरत को ग़ुलामी से आज़ाद कर, जवानों को पीरों का उस्ताद कर. It says, the times have changed. This is Allama Iqbal saying a century ago. Can you imagine his mindset? The times have changed, so have their signs. The zamane badal gaye. New is the music and so are the instruments. All the musical instruments have been replaced, which means the old instruments have been replaced by the youth, by you. And he prays, there is a prayer here to God that khirat ko ghulami se azad kar. Khirat is your intellect. That free this intellect from slavery, which means free young men's minds from slavery and make them mentors of the old. जवानों को पीरों का उस्ताद कर. पीर अभी है ना जवानों के उस्ताद. No, it's the other way around. Through education, through being dignified, through being tolerant. This is what this is all about, Pakistan. Now, having said this, having introduced you to Quaid-e-Azam and God's design and Allama Iqbal, let me tell you something about Pakistan itself. I consider it as one of the potentially the greatest nation on earth. Potentially, it's not yet. We are far from being a great nation of the world, but potentially we surely are. You know why? Because God has bestowed Pakistan with all types of natural resources, be it water, minerals, different types of resource, especially the human resource, the age group of your age between 18 and 32. I think Pakistan has the largest human resource, the youthful human resource. This is the biggest asset a country can have. So we have the largest and youngest human resource. We have the CPEC, China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. I mean, the greatest country on earth, China, which exports to all parts of the world. All that trade is going to eventually pass through the very heart of Pakistan to Gwadar, to the warm waters. They need access to warm waters from there. So we can have a very pivotal role in the world trade. Pakistan can play its role if we are sincere to Pakistan, if we are sincere to ourselves, if we know thyself, know ourselves. We have the top mountain ranges and all the the land in KPK and Punjab are fertile lands. Sindh has fertile lands and the desert there is laden with coal, and the barren mountains of Balochistan are all laden with natural mineral resource. You know what? Pakistan has a potential hydropower energy capability of 100,000 megawatts. We are only generating now a total of, I think, 13,000 megawatts. and there is a shortfall of 7,000 megawatts every year, due to which we have this load shedding. Just compare to 13,000 and that 7,000 with the figure of 100,000. So where are our dams? That is the question you should be asking to yourself and to the elders. And we have the 4 seasons of the world. There are certain civic duties as a citizen of Pakistan. Remember that. You should have the duty to vote. Vote is voting. You have now entered the age where next time, inshallah, in the general elections, you will be casting your vote. It is a very, very sacred duty to cast your vote and to give your vote to the person who you think is capable of leading Pakistan. Not at an emotional level, at an intellectual level. So your vote is very, very important. You must know, you must cast your vote. You must know the responsibilities the MNA and the MPAs have, the councillors have, and you must know your rights. What are your rights? You understand? You should be concerned with the foreign policy of Pakistan, with the local conditions of Pakistan. We should be willing to pay our taxes. We should be willing to obey the law, not jump the red light, traffic lights. Do not jump the queues. है ना, हम लाइन नहीं बनाते, हम आगे चले जाते हैं. Don't do that. Learn these things. Pakistan is a great country. What is the other reality we have? There were 2 realities. Being a Pakistani, I told you, and the other is being a Muslim, being a moral being. We must know then what is it? What is deen? What is being a Muslim means? Where do we get this from, the being a Muslim? What is its purpose? If you have the Quran, what is the purpose of life that the Quran tells us? And last but not the least, the religion that we have, is it human driven or God driven? We must know these things at an intellectual level. It cannot be human because God created us, so it has to be something from God. So we believe anything that comes from God Almighty has to be the true religion. And the fact of the matter remains that God, after creating us, did not run away. He talked to us. He has talked to you, beta, each one of you, and to me. How? Did he come himself in front of us? No. He chose his messengers, his prophets, on which he revealed his message, and the prophets forwarded that message to us. That is the reason we feel very confident we have the same Quran as revealed on Prophet Muhammad alayhi salam. So we must know these things. And that particular thing, God claims in the Quran that He has instilled in us, revealed on us from what is right and wrong. That is the reason we are moral beings. Animals are not moral beings. The only species on planet Earth are us, Homo sapiens, the human beings who have the good sense of respecting their parents, of worshipping one God, recognizing that. It's a universal thing that telling a lie is not considered good. All these things are something which God claims in the Quran He has instilled in us. And on the basis of that, we are moral creatures. I mean, we enter the rooms from our door, not from the windows. We don't find Homo sapiens or human beings hanging by the like monkeys on the fans. No, we are dignified creatures because we have the intellect with us. Okay? Yeah. That is called the inner morality, like speak kindly, speaking truthfully, speaking justly, speaking graciously in a dignified manner, kindly, with wisdom, and the ability to tolerate the other person's interpretations, other person's faith, other person's caste, color, creed, so that we can coexist. We can live and let live, and not live and let die. Okay? And one of the fundamental teachings of God in the Quran, fundamental teaching which covers the whole aspect of our being, is the verse that is recited in the Jummah all over the world, especially in the second part of the khutbah, which says that indeed Allah orders justice and good conduct and giving to relatives. Three things He says we got to do: justice, good conduct, and giving to relatives. And three things He asks us, He forbids three things, which is immorality, bad conduct, and oppression. Oppressing others or rebelling against God Almighty. This is a very important. If you can recall, Inna Allah ya'muru bil adli wal ihsani wa ita'i dhil qurba wa yanha anil fahsha'i wal munkari wal baghi ya'izukum la'allakum tazakkarun. I'm sure you can recall that in the Jummah these verses are being. How can we play our role? This is the last thing. How can we play our role? How can you see yourselves being fit in this role? Number one, educate yourselves, educate ourselves. It starts from there. We have to, that is how we own. Take pride in our national language, which is Urdu. Japan, China, Germany have progressed with their language, not by disassociating with the German, Chinese and Japanese language. No, they adhere to their language, to their culture. So it's great to be a man or a woman of the world, modern world, but not at the expense of shunning our culture, our language. No, that has to go hand in hand. Remember this. Take pride in yourselves. Take pride in the way you dress. Take pride in the way you speak and in your character. When you come to the university, beta, dress properly. Don't wear slippers. Don't wear sandals. Wear shoes, socks. You should be well dressed. Take pride in your hairstyle and in your appearance. This is important. Awareness of civic duties. You have a duty as a citizen of Pakistan. Don't litter. When you eat a chali, don't throw it outside. When you eat chips, don't throw the wrapper or the wrapper of the ice cream. Don't do that. Keep your environment clean. It starts from you. It starts from us. Stick to the truth at all costs. Let's learn to do this. Let's stick to the truth. And Pakistan's national days, whenever we have a national day, 14th August, 25th December or 23rd March, and the national days of Pakistan, or the day when Allama Iqbal was born and he died, for instance, do sit at home for a while. Take out the stuff from your Google or Wikipedia and read some book about Pakistan. Sit alone for 5-10 minutes or with your parents, with your brothers over a cup of tea in the evening and talk about Pakistan. Talk about Allama Iqbal, his poetry, or his or Quaid-e-Azam and all the characters who helped build Pakistan. Okay. So in the end, let us start owning being a Pakistani and take pride in Pakistan, beta. Let us remind ourselves of the moral obligations we have to fulfill. Two obligations. You are young adults. Now when you look around, you see God around you. So you have to fulfill the rights of God as per His expectations. And you see fellow human beings around you. The students in UCP, your brothers, sisters, and your neighbors, your parents. You have to fulfill human rights. So let's embark on this glorious journey of owning Pakistan and being a Muslim. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.